In this lesson, we are going to learn how to enable touch events in our game so that it may work on mobile devices and other devices that use touchscreens as their inputs. We're also going to learn how to test out these touch events without using a full-fledged simulator or a physical device. So the question is, how do we go about doing that? Well, luckily for us, the latest versions of Google Chrome and their developer tools include a very robust emulator right within those developer tools. So let's go ahead and open up our developer tools. Again, on a Mac, that is Command Option J. So we've got our developer tools open. One problem with having it here on the right side is that it makes our widescreen game very small. So we can go ahead and click up here in the top right. It'll give us our developer tools here at the bottom. For our purposes in this instance, I'm going to leave them fairly small, just one line of the console open there. And what we want to go ahead and do now is open up our emulator. So if you look here in the top right, there's an icon that looks sort of like a phone. Go ahead and click on that and we have a new view. It gives us rulers. We can see what resolution we're using based on the rulers, as well as here in the top left. We're currently emulating a generic notebook with a 1280 by 800 screen. It's got a pixel ratio of 1. And then we can also override the user agent. We can even do network throttling, which we'll look at here in a moment. Since we're wanting to test on a mobile device, we can go ahead and select from any of these presets. As you can see, they have a large range of presets: Android phones, Apple phones, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and test on an Apple iPhone 6. Now, as you can see, it gives us the default screen resolution. Not so great for our game at the moment, but again, we want to play this game in landscape mode. So we can go ahead and click this rotate button here. It flips it for us. As you can see from this warning, it's updated the user agent, but the page obviously is not seeing it yet. So let's go ahead and just reload real quick. And we have our game loading here in an iPhone 6. We can go and scale that back so that it fits in there. We'll be addressing that within our code later, but within the emulator, we can scale it to a 0.7, and we can see our full game here. Let's go ahead and check out the throttling as well. Now, this is a really interesting feature that actually works incredibly well. It gives us a range of presets that we can select. So let's go ahead and select a really slow one. And what's really useful about this, this gives us a 50K connection. We'll go ahead and reload. And as you can see, it simulates that slow loading. Again, we have very few resources and assets within this game, so it still loads quite quickly. But when making a mobile game, it's really important, especially if it's in the browser and they don't have it cached on their local device. It's really important to see what kind of experience they'll get on that slower internet. Let's go ahead and turn off that throttling, though. Reload our game here. So what's cool about this emulator is it's not just taking a screenshot at different resolutions. It's actually the full game, your full web page loaded into this, fully interactive. And if you'll notice, instead of a cursor, we get that circle. That is simulating a finger point on the screen. So we can go ahead and click or rather touch our start button, our play button here, and if you'll notice, nothing's happening. So let's go ahead and go back to our code and see why that is. So we want to go ahead and look at remember, Command R lets us search through all of the methods in our file. So we want setup menu, takes us straight down here, and we have our play button here. And if you'll notice, we have button.click. Well, that's for a mouse. That doesn't work on touch devices. Now, there's lots of really great touch events available. If we jump over to MDN touch events, you can see the full documentation here of all of the touch events available. It's really in-depth stuff that you can do with touch in the browser. It's a lot more than I think most people would be aware of. But of course, there's also just the basic touch events that we would be needing, such as touch start, touch end, touch cancel, touch leave, and touch move. Now, what's nice with Pixie.js is that they've actually implemented a combination of touch start and touch end to simulate a click. And so we can just set button.tap, and that will be very similar to a click. Now we are using .click in another area, right down here with our rocks, when we want to click on them and explode them. So let's go ahead and also add rock.tap to that, save our file with Command S, and we can go ahead and reload our game in our simulated, or rather emulated, iPhone here. And if we tap this time, the play button works. If we tap on a rock, the rock explodes as well. So we're now emulating a full mobile and touchscreen environment. We've learned how to enable those touch interactions with our game, in addition, alongside those click events. So now our game works cross-platform with a mouse, with a touchscreen, tablets, phones, whatever it may be. In our upcoming lessons, we're going to look at how to further enhance our gameplay with more mobile-specific features.